When kids are dealing with like diagnoses or a change in prognosis and something happening to them healthcare-wise, all of those things take away that control from a child, right? And I think that's another thing is kids thrive on having choice and control from a really early age. There's always potentially something new and unfamiliar that increases stress, which increases apprehension and anxiety, which then starts to impact their development, right? So you have a kid who may be trucking along and then suddenly they have this experience that sort of just like puts the brakes on all of that because you have to pivot to focus on what's happening here or with healthcare.
Maybe they took an ambulance, maybe they went through the emergency room. That's all very scary and dramatic. Then you come up to a unit and you're introduced to a room with equipment and beeping and noises and things that are in there that look very big and very scary and very intimidating. So that's sort of your first introduction to a hospital. Then again, you have a rush of staff who are all coming in and they're putting stickers on their chest and they might be putting nasal cannulas on their nose and they're hooking them up to things, often maybe without even telling the child this is what this is for or this is what this is doing to help you. On top of that, then you have to do all of the other things to get them sort of medically stable. So we put IVs in them. They have to get poked, then they have to have a dressing on their arm. Then they're afraid that they can't use their arm, right? So we're taking away all of these things and they're just sort of there. And we do this to them while they're at the hospital. All of these things that maybe to adults are like, oh, okay, that's just a normal part of you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital. It's very, very scary for kids, mostly because of just how unfamiliar it is. And I think at baseline, that's really the biggest stressor for a lot of kids.
So if you think about it, you have a child, you have let's say a 3-year-old, and that 3-year-old loves to play and explore and they'd be climbing on a playground and suddenly they're in a hospital and they have to stay in a room for like days or weeks. That child loses out on those experiences, and so when they lose out on those opportunities that would typically be helping them learn and build trust and form relationships, those aspects of their development halt, and they can even sometimes go backwards. And so we have to work on how do we support being able to keep those experiences going even when a child is navigating healthcare situations, big or small. When you have a child who gets to just be taken out of that medical experience, that's what it does to their brain, right? It removes them from those stressors and allows them to just focus on something else and something that's really cool. Magic is incredible and it's awe-inspiring, and I think when you have a child who gets to see that happen, not only are they like, wow, what just happened in front of me, but they got to be part of it. That gives them that control back, which is huge in the hospital. It lets them have that power, and it sort of transports them to this other place where then those stressors diminish, that anxiety decreases, and then that empowerment becomes almost a snowball, right? And the child's like, oh, if I could do this, what else can I do? Oh, I can do that scan tomorrow because I did this today. And we need to give them more of those opportunities so that they can build that self-efficacy, they can build that self-esteem, and they know then that they can be successful.
The impact of Open Heart Magic on a child in the hospital can take a child from apprehension and hesitancy to suddenly relaxed and just calm and interactive. And that's a big distinction between how a child might come into the hospital and experiencing all the stress that they do to this, wait, I'm just a kid. I get to be a kid. They're smiling at staff, they're smiling at their families, they're showing people things that they've learned. They want to do things that give them sort of a sense of autonomy while they're here, instead of feeling like everything is just happening to me.
There was a child once in the emergency department and they were really, really struggling, and I remember calling one of the magicians who happened to be in the building and saying, "Can you come down to the emergency room? I just think if this kid saw some magic or got to have some like really captivating opportunity and something that would really catch him, he might pivot and calm down and be able to, engage in what he needed to do to be able to go home." And the magician came down and this kid watched magic, and it was a pivotal moment. The staff couldn't believe what was happening. They got to see this child for who he was, right? Everybody watching the magic and the child participating in it, got to bring everyone back to a space where we could almost start over and have a really positive experience from then on. And that was from a magic trick. There are no other opportunities like this for kids in hospitals, right? Because there is no other time where the child truly holds all the power. They don't. That's why it's so empowering. That's why it gives them that power in a way that nothing else does, because there's no ulterior motive. There's no other goal but see the magic, experience the magic, get to do the magic.
Oh my gosh, I just dropped them. Oh my gosh, here's one. I'm gonna just throw it that way. Oh! How did you do that? How many did you make? Could you help me count?
Because I'm a magician.
Because you're a magician, right?